So now, as we all have heard, with Polite's conviction and being sentenced to 7 years state prison, followed by 10 years of probation, a lot of people are weighing in on this. But one of the notable persons that decided to weigh in was Mysonne, former rapper, now community activist. Mysonne weighed in on this, and he gave his opinion on what's going on within the community, what needs to happen. So let's check out what Mysonne had to say as he listens to Polite be sentenced, and then I'll come right back with more of my commentary.
First-degree felony sexual assault charges have been dropped. Let's start it off with this conversation right here. Again, I won't be talking about the case specifically for all the right reasons. Blessings in abundance. The mother and the daughter and the prosecution dropped every single sexual charge. I'm saying it again. The mother, the daughter, my accusers, in addition to the state, the prosecution, all agreed they need to drop all of the sexual charges.
All right, so Brother Polite had his court date today in court, and the judge actually just read the verdict. And let me tell you, it's pretty shocking. I'm going to play the video from court, and I'll be back with my commentary.
And then we will go into the details on the contract. Go ahead.
Your Honor, the plea agreement includes an adjudication, 7 years of state prison, followed by 10 years of reporting probation. As a condition of probation, the defendant will...
Would you say 10 years probation?
10 years reporting probation.
Okay.
The defendant will complete the MDSO program. The defendant will not be allowed to have unsupervised contact with children. The defendant will have specific terms regarding where he may work and the ability to wear a uniform. There are additional terms of restitution, of which $5,000 has been agreed to be paid upfront within 24 hours, mailed to the victim. And additional restitution to be paid out on a monthly basis once he is out of custody. And that monthly amount is highlighted in the written terms of the plea agreement. Additionally, there will be a stay-away order from victim TS and her mother, which is also mentioned in the plea agreement.
What is the total amount of the restitution?
The total amount of restitution is $25,000.
Okay. All right.
Your Honor, the defendant's counsel going to be providing probation with the proof of the $5,000 being paid?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Okay, so Mr. Nowak, the terms of the plea agreement are as what the prosecutor just stated, that you are going to be entering a plea of guilty to the 2 counts of aggravated child abuse and 1 count of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. You will be adjudicated guilty, which is a criminal conviction on your record. Do you also understand, sir, that by entering into this plea that it may subject you to involuntary civil commitment proceedings set forth in Florida statutes 394.910 through 394.931? Do you understand everything that I've said thus far?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I want to also advise you, sir, that you are going to be sentenced to 7 years in state prison, to be followed by 10 years of reporting probation. In addition to any of these special conditions of probation, you will also participate in and successfully complete a mentally disordered sex offender treatment program, that you are also not eligible. Okay, you may, according to the state, you may be eligible for early termination if all of the conditions of your probation have been completed, that you have had no violations of your probation, and that you have not been arrested for any other criminal offense. Is that correct, State?
And to clarify, the terms stated in 5 is there is no prohibition on early termination. However, there is a requirement that any modification to this agreement be agreed by the state and the court.
Okay. All right, sir. Now, with respect to this plea agreement, I have on each page next to defendant's initials MN. Did you in fact affix those initials to each page?
I did.
And have you reviewed each and every component of this plea agreement going through page 1 and through page 4?
I have.
Now it says on page 4, having read the above mentioned terms of this plea agreement and having been advised by my counsel, David Terrace, I, Michael Noak, freely and voluntarily enter into this plea agreement and agree to abide by all terms and conditions of this plea agreement, and agree that failure to comply with any terms or conditions within this agreement constitutes a violation of probation and subjects me to be sentenced to the statutory maximum penalties provided by law for the crimes for which I am now pleading guilty. And then it has a signature over the name Michael Noah. Is that in fact your signature, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I am now going to place my signature on this plea agreement, in that I am now going to be ratifying this plea agreement as negotiated between the state of Florida and your attorney. Has anybody, including your...
So there you have it, Brother Polite sentenced to 7 years in prison plus 10 years of supervised release afterwards.
Now, first of all, let me state that I don't usually speak on situations like this because, you know, I know of instances personally where men have been falsely accused of these allegations. I personally have visualized and seen situations where men were falsely accused of situations like this, so I very rarely speak on these situations because I don't know. And unless I have a preponderance of evidence, or it's a woman who I know for sure, who I trust and I know is telling the truth, then you'll very rarely hear me speak on cases of this nature, because I understand this is a man's life, and the worst thing that you can be labeled is a pedophile or a rapist, right? So I would never want to label someone like that. But in this situation, you know, I feel the need to point out the hypocrisy and the lies here. You know, this brother right here is someone who had a major influence over this culture for a long time. You know, there were people that had him on major platforms, and major artists and entertainers. Everybody shared space with this man, and he influenced this culture for a long time. He was given platforms to spread a lot of things. There was a lot of things that he said I agreed with, and I actually respected. But I believe that if we did that to hide this situation and not speak about it, is dishonorable, right? What it does is it teaches our kids that they should peacefully coexist with shit that's dishonorable, right? That we allow dishonorable individuals to get it passed and hide and not be called out. So what it does is teach our kids that they could be dishonorable. It doesn't set any boundaries. It doesn't set a bar that we set as men and say that we are not going to allow coward shit and dishonor amongst us. You know? So in this point, in this situation, this is some dishonorable crab shit that the man did. You know, and I'm not speaking about all the intricacies of the case. I'm just talking about in this exact instance. The man lied. He blatantly lied, right? He blatantly lied about the dynamics of what happened. He said in the beginning of this, you hear him say that all the sexual charges have been dropped. There are no sexual charges that have been against him. They dropped all the sexual charges. That's not accurate. It is a lie. It is deceitful. And it's deceitful because the average person on the internet that's listening doesn't know the law. Neither will they look into the law. So they'll just assume, since you're following this person, and he has a cult-like following, since you're following him, they believe the words that he says. And they let him misguide them purposely. And then a lot of people don't want to believe it, right? We have a culture where niggas don't want to believe that people that they have respect for do coward shit. That some of them are just creeps. We don't want to believe that. So you hide behind this mask and you let them lie to you in this willful ignorance, right? So the man said that all the sexual charges against him were dropped. And then you listen as he copped a plea to charges, right? Endangering a minor and 2 counts of aggravated child abuse. Now, Nobody doesn't understand. What he tried to make it seem like aggravated child abuse was just him being responsible for the kid, the young lady, having drugs or alcohol, and him just giving her drugs and alcohol. We know that under no circumstances does endangering the welfare of a child give you 30 years. The maximum is 30 years, right? Because that happens. You can get that. Most people have got that before. But this aggravated child abuse in Florida, under the Florida statute, is the crime of aggravated child abuse is defined as committing an aggravated battery on a child, or willfully torturing, maliciously punishing, or caging a child, or abusing a child in a manner that causes great bodily harm, permanent disability, or permanent disfigurement. Importantly, there's no requirement that aggravated child abuse be committed by a person in a particular or custodial relationship to the child. Thus, what might be charged as a felony battery in the child was an adult, if the child was an adult, can instead be charged as aggravated child abuse at the prosecutor's discretion. This man copped out. He admittedly copped out to 2 counts of aggravated child abuse, which pretty much falls under what can be rape. So what he did was manipulate a situation and say, I'm not gonna have nothing that says rape on my case. So name it something else. So I can go out there and lie to the public and continue to lie. And this is what I'm calling out. This is the coward culture shit I'm calling out. Individuals like that, who we've given grace and we've given the opportunity to lead and talk to our children and have influence over our children, when they do shit like this and they blatantly lie, the culture can't cover up for them. They can't hide behind, not no real niggas. No man of honor can allow a nigga like Polite to hide behind him, to be shielded, to allow to think that we're going to be quiet because we don't want to say nothing. As men, it is our duty as men to step up and call out bullshit, right? Because if we do not set a standard for us and say, yo, my nigga, you can't rape kids and be around us, we're not going to be quiet. We're going to tell everybody you're a rapist. We're going to let everybody know that you're a fucking pedophile and a rapist. So you're going to be uncomfortable every day. The same way I talk about snitching, I'm not going to let a snitch feel comfortable because when you do dishonorable shit around me, you can't feel comfortable around me. You're going to be called out every time. So this culture needs to call us. It's way too much silence. I didn't hear anybody with a major platform say something about this. And I know it's taboo, but the reality is, if we're going to take back our culture and we're going to lead our kids in the right direction, we got to do it by being honorable. We got to show them that when we see bullshit, we call it out. We got to show them that this is blatant. This is not no allegations. This man admitted to this. This man, he copped out, and not only did he cop out to it, he lied. That's the reason why I said something. Prior to that, I probably would have said something. Maybe he copped out to a lesser charge because, there was something going on. But when a man would blatantly lie and say that they dropped all the sexual charges, not thinking that the average person, matter of fact, knowing that the average person on the internet is not going to do any research, they're just going to take Polite's word. Polite said all the sex charges is dropped. But they didn't look under that aggravated child abuse, right? They didn't look at what those standards, and all of those things can be exactly what happens in a rape. So because they call it something different, and then he still has to take sex offender classes. The man lied. He blatantly lied, and he's playing on the intelligence of the culture. And as a man, I can't stand on it. So I call out bullshit. Men like Polite. Any man who thinks it's okay to put harm on our weak, to harm the women and our children in our community, you can't stand behind me. I'm not going to be silent. I'm not going to allow you to move peacefully. I'm going to call it out every time. And that's what real men are supposed to do. We're supposed to stand on honor and integrity. We're not standing with some shit. We're not peacefully coexisting. We're not going along to get along. We're not going to hang with the niggas that's cool, even if they're cowards and they doing sucker shit. We're not doing that. We are literally taking our culture back from these cowards, and real men are going to be prevalent again. So I hope this is I want you to understand it's a new day. You cowards and niggas, your days is numbers. You can no longer hide. Doctor, whatever you call him, polite, the man is a pedophile. And anybody that says something different is a liar. And they upholding coward culture.
So as you can see, everybody from all over the country now is starting to pile in and give their voice their opinions on Polite. But the big question I still have to ask is, what have we learned from this? Because Polite, he's held the mirror up to the black community, and he shows you that people can cater to your lower desires and they can benefit off of it and hurt you at the same time. So a lot of our women need to reevaluate the things that they're attracted to. A lot of our men need to reevaluate the things that they're also attracted to. Because you have predators that come in and they peep the weakness in our games and they exploit it. They exploit your desires. And they have you desiring things that you know is detrimental to you or destroy you, but you'll still desire to have it anyway. And this is how they're able to manipulate and get away. These people are professional manipulators, man. And all he did was flash shiny objects in your face, beautiful women. He flashed the shiny objects in your face to make you want to be like him. Then he flashed the beautiful women in your face. And when men saw that, men wanted to be like him. Women wanted to be a part of what he was doing. So what he did was hold up a mirror. Because that, at the end of the day, two things. A lot of people don't like it. It's tight, but it's right. The mom heard Polite's message, and she knew for a fact that he was an enemy to his message. He wasn't living the stuff that he was preaching, but she still decided to be there. I want all women that watch this video, learn from this. Be careful with some of the things you're attracted to. Don't place yourself in certain environments, please, let alone your children. You have to reevaluate the things that you attract and what you are attracted to. Guys, the same goes for you. Be careful. You need to take inventory and reevaluate the things that you think is decent. Some of that stuff needs to be eradicated and needs to change because it's bringing trouble into your life. And you have predators that's preying on you to bring you pain for their own personal gain. So I think I said enough here. I'm going to cut the video short here, but reevaluate the things that you are attracted to. Remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.